Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again, guys. What's going on? I got a real good show for you guys today. We're going to be breaking down the supporting depositions, the supplemental reports that were taken by detectives in the Madeline Soto case involving her teachers and her classmates and other people, neighbors, etc. I think it's very important for us to go through those documents. We haven't gone through it yet. It's a part of that 800 and something page document dump that I recently received. I've never seen these documents before. I'm parsing through it. It's a lot of information. I stumbled on these documents. I said, you know what? I need to dissect this. So we're going to jump in right now and check these out and see what we got going on, guys. This is definitely very, very, very good and probative information. I don't know a lot of this information. A lot of it I heard secondhand from other YouTubers. This is our opportunity to actually dive into this for ourselves and give my professional experience and opinion of what I see in these documents, and if I think anything is probative that will help the case. All right, so this was done by the Orange County Sheriff's Office. If you don't know, they did a big brunt of the investigation for this case because it didn't get sent over to Kissimmee until they found the body and they located where the death probably occurred and where the body was located. And that's when they brought in Kissimmee PD and they became the lead agency. So the majority of these documents, as we've noticed, have come from the sheriff's office because they thought they were the lead agency for quite a while. So let's jump into this. On February 29th, 2024, I was asked to respond to blank address to assist with interviewing teachers and students of Maddie Soto. I believe that name is going to be Maddie Soto. Let's keep going. Interviews with 25-year-old blank on, and I don't know who that is, but maybe the document will reveal itself. It might be a teacher or something. I don't know. We'll see. On February 29th, 2024, at approximately 13:10 hours, that's 1:10 p.m. If you don't know Army time, I conducted a digitally recorded sworn interview. I want that recording. Why haven't they released that recording? I would love to hear it. I mean, they're giving us a summary investigation report. Why can't we get that actual recording and listen to those individuals being questioned? But let's keep going. She told me that she knew Maddie pretty well and that they had some interactions. Blank stated that blank hangs out with blank most in class, but she also sees blank with blank in the class. So I think she also sees Maddie with a student name, rightfully redacted because we don't need to know the names of any of the children, is in the class, but has another assigned PE teacher. All right, so this is probably a physical education teacher that they're interviewing because this person says she has another PE teacher. All right, so let's keep going. Blank told me that she has never had any issues with Maddie. Blank told me that Maddie always seemed very anxious, and anytime she needed to ask or wanted something, she brought a buddy with her. It's very interesting that Maddie was so shy that she always had to have somebody with her to request something. I mean, that's definitely a red flag that these teachers should have made note of and should have reported to a counselor or something like that. That's usually a sign of abuse of some sort, where a child is super shy and they need emotional support, because that's what it is. It's actually, she needed emotional support. So the teacher saying she always brought a buddy with her. No, that she always needed emotional support to do something. And that's also a sign of trauma. Let's keep going. Blank recalled how Maddie was shy around authority figures, probably because she was being victimized by authority figures. And anytime she needed to ask for someone, we already said that she was shy around authority figures, but not everybody. Blank told me that Maddie got Student of the Week for February 16th and was nominated by Blank for doing something excellent, but not sure what exactly she did. Blank recalled during a fitness testing at the beginning of the year, Maddie struggled because of her asthma. She walked with Blank to her locker so she could get her inhaler and told her that she was able to sit it out if she needed to. Blank recalled how occasionally her friends would tell her that Maddie needed to go to the counselor and she would go with friends. Blank did not know why Maddie needed to go to the counselor. So if she needed to go to the counselor that much, I'm so surprised as to why this counselor was not able to ferret out this trauma that Maddie was going through. And I don't want to bang on this counselor. I don't really know her qualifications. I'm sure she has to be a certified counselor and also to be a school counselor, but different states have different requirements. So I can't even say that definitively. But if Maddie's spending so much time with this counselor and she's exhibiting these shy traits where she needs emotional support from her friends and she's not really good in school and she's not active in school, etc., why wouldn't this counselor be able, after multiple sessions, to kind of get to the root of what is troubling Maddie and why is she in this state of mind for a child her age, which is the antithesis of how children act at her age, right? And lastly, that whole asthma thing kind of brings us back to the interviews that Jen Soto and Stephen Soto did. Now, we expect Stephen Soto to do and act the way he acted because he's the goddamn devil. We expect that, right? And I apologize for saying goddamn for any religious people. My apologies. But what we don't expect is for Jen Soto, the mother of Maddy, Jennifer Soto, we don't expect for her to forget that her own daughter is a terrible asthmatic. She's so asthmatic, she can't even go through the very rudimentary and basic obstacle courses that they make you do in physical education class. She is so asthmatic that she had to be escorted to her locker by her physical education teacher so that she could get her asthma pump, her inhaler, in order for her to make it through PE. You mean to tell me when you're getting this interview with detectives about the state of your daughter and they're trying to find your daughter, you mean to tell me that you're not going to remember, by the way, it is at the utmost importance that we find my daughter immediately, without haste, forthwith, etc., 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 because my daughter suffers from asthma. And without her inhaler, her health is in danger. We never heard one time Jen Soto speak about her daughter's asthma. Isn't that strange, ladies and gentlemen? I think it's strange, but let's keep going. Blank had not seen any changes in behavior. When she heard the description of Blank or Maddie's clothing, she recognized it as something she always wears. Maddy did not see any signs of, Blank did not see any signs of depression or suicidal inclinations. Blank does not dress out in class. Maybe he meant to say act out in class. Or maybe dress out, meaning change her clothes into physical education clothing. I don't know, but we'll keep going. But she is not sure why. Blank told me that many kids do not change out. So that's what she meant, changing into physical education clothing. She told me that many kids do not change out because they feel uncomfortable, but they still participate. Blank told me that Maddy had a locker previously and the SRO Blank asked her to check it and she did not find a lock on it or any items in it. Blank told me that children will get pulled from her class for various other things like tutoring, and she believed that Blank was pulled for MTSS intervention with Blank earlier in the year. I don't know what MTSS, if anybody knows what that is, put it in the comment section so that the rest of us can actually be educated on what that means. Let's keep going. Blank stressed that Maddy always seemed anxious and did not think it was normal for Maddy to want to go away on her own since she's always needed someone with her. Boom. And wouldn't the parents know that too? And when I say the parents, let me clarify. Wouldn't Jen know that? Because we know Stephen is not her parent. He's her abuser and he's also her killer. So we don't expect nothing from Stephen. But wouldn't Jen know that? Wouldn't Jen know that her daughter is not the type to run away? I don't know. Maybe that's why Jen said she thought that her daughter was kidnapped. I don't know. But it just seems like the interviews that Jen did made it seem like Jen really didn't know much about her daughter when she should have known everything about her daughter. But whatever, I digress. Let's keep going. Blank told me that she met Madeline's mother once earlier in the year when she was a substitute for another PE teacher. A copy of this interview. All right, let's keep going. This next interview is with a 33-year-old. We don't know who it is, but it's most likely a teacher. So let's see. On February 29, 2024, at approximately 13:39 hours, that would be 1:39 p.m., I conducted a digitally recorded sworn interview with Blank in a portable classroom at Blank. The following is a synopsis of her statement. I guess that's at the Creek School, whatever the name of the school is. It's not on the top of my head, but you guys know what we're talking about. We looked it up on Google Earth. The following is a synopsis of her statement. Blank told me that Maddy is in her first period intensive reading class. So she probably had like an IEP or something like that for reading. Blank thought she knew Maddy pretty well since they had been in her class since fall of 2023. Blank told me that Maddy was on her door decorating team, which she nominated Maddy for Student of the Week for. Blank told me how Maddy and other students would stay late or come in early to work on a project in the end of January. Blank told me that the theme of the door was the closet they were, was the closest they were. All right, whatever. Blank believes that Maddy is also friends with a Blank Garcia, not just Blank. Sarah Dedrick is an 8th grade student helper in the same period, and she was not sure if Sarah was close with Blank. Blank told me that she is aware of what happened from OCSO media release. Now, it seems like some of these kids are not being redacted. I'm reading, so I'm going to make a mistake and say their name. But when I see a student, I'm just going to say maybe their first name, and I'll catch myself and not say their last name because this stuff is already out there anyway. So it is what it is. It's not like we're exposing children, but as a professional courtesy and just the right thing to do, I'll try and not say the kid's entire name. And if I could catch it, I'll just redact the entire name, okay? So let's keep going. Blank recalls how Blank was reading a graphic novel and Blank and Maddy was alarmed that kissing was in the book. It's probably because she was ashamed of what was happening to her. So when people are victims of sexual abuse, not all, but it's not unheard of, and it does happen where they become repulsed with sexual activity, repulsed with the notion of intimacy is something that is scary because intimacy is synonymous with abuse with them. So intimacy is supposed to be a beautiful thing that we naturally learn and fall into, and it becomes a significant part of our life and our happiness. But remember, that intimacy has been distorted and corrupted by this evil individual. So something that should have been natural and beautiful for her when she was ready and of age has now turned into something that's diabolical and traumatizing and evil and hurtful and painful and disgusting and shameful for the victim who has been manipulated and abused since 8 years old. That's documented. But remember, from Strategiceyes' point of view, I believe this has been happening since 6 years old. But at the very least, we can document it and say definitively it happened at 8 years old. So think about that when you think about why she would react to hearing about kissing in a book, especially when you know what Stephen Stearns has been doing to her for all these years. Additionally, Blank told me that she heard Maddy and her friends talking about a Lady Gaga lyric that they were alarmed about its sexual meaning. Blank said that Maddy did not make any disclosures regarding any kind of abuse. Blank did not believe that Maddy's mother came to open house, nor had they ever met. So a mother's not even involved in this child's life. Like, don't get me wrong. There's times that I can't make an open house. There's times that mommy can't make an open house. But we may not come together because work schedules, but we're damn sure going to make sure one person shows up. Even if we're both working, somebody got to take off of work. We're just going to flip that coin and figure out who can take off this time, because it's important to show your kids that you're interested in what they're doing in school. She's a 12-year-old who just turned 13, but most of the stuff happened when she was 12 because she died shortly after turning 13. How would you not go to open house, go to report cards meetings and meet the teacher and all that stuff for a 12-year-old? That's negligent. And it makes the child feel like they don't matter and you just don't give a damn about them. Kids care. They care. They don't care that you have to work and all that bull crap. They want to see you show up. And sometimes we forget that as adults, but Jesus Christ, all she had was you, Jen. You had parental alienated her from her biological father in Texas. So all she had was you, and the man you forced into her life, Stephen Stearns. The least you could have did was show up, and it's apparent she wasn't showing up, and the teachers are proving that. So let's keep going. All right, where were we? She did not believe the mother came to open house, nor had they ever met. Blank had not seen any signs of depression or suicidal ideation in Maddy. Blank told me that she was shocked to hear about Madeline's conversation regarding living in the woods. Blank stated that Maddy's grades was low in her class and said that she had had a D in every quarter. She stated that Maddy would work in class, but she was not able to follow things through to completion. That attention deficit disorder, all that good stuff, that's trauma. How can I concentrate on reading? I don't know, pick a freaking book from school. The Mockingbird, How to Kill a Mockingbird. How can I focus on reading How to Kill a Mockingbird when I know when the bell rings, ding, 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 and I got to get out of the school and I got to get in that car, in mommy's car, and I go home, I know what's going to happen to me. I know mommy's going to take her Adderall and take her whatever LL she's taking, her meth, whatever she's taking. I don't have no evidence she does meth. I'm just being an a-hole. And she's going to knock out on the couch, on the bed, wherever she wants to sleep. Who knows? Who cares? And this guy is going to now be free to abuse me. That's what she's thinking while she's in school. How can she be a good student if she knows what's waiting for her at home? So yeah, this makes perfect sense. I don't think anything was wrong with Maddy developmentally, and I'm not a doctor, this is just my opinion. I think all of her deficiencies, socializing with other people and going to school, can be traced back to her trauma. That is it. Point blank, period. Let's keep going. Blank had not seen any shifts in Maddy's behavior, but believes that Maddy's behavior had improved since the door decorating competition. A copy of this interview and a picture of Blank with the door was placed into evidence. So I think a picture with Maddy and the door was placed into evidence. And if that's a picture of Maddy looking happy, I think that's one picture they should release to the public so we can think about her and remember her as a sweet girl that she was, who never had a chance at life. Never had a chance at life. She's been abused since she was a baby. Let's keep going. So this is another interview with a 33-year-old. This one happened February 29th at 2024, approximately 1490 hours. This is 2:19 p.m. I conducted a digitally recorded sworn. This guy's flying through these interviews, by the way. He's flying through them. I'm not saying he's not doing a good job. He is doing a good job. He's getting as much information as he can, but he's flying through them. Because you look at the close proximity of each interview. So approximately 1419 hours, I conducted a digitally sworn interview with Blank in a portable classroom at the middle school, Hunters Creek Middle School. The following is a synopsis of his statement. So this is a male. Let me get a drink real quick before we jump into this. Blank told him that Maddy is in his 7th period English class and has been there since the fall of 2023. Blank told me that he has had a great relationship with Maddy and he thinks she likes him. Blank described Maddy as quieter, who sometimes does her work. Blank has sleepy days where she comes in and puts her head down and does nothing, which he has said not a lot of kids do. Why? Because she's being molested all night and she's being drugged up by Stephen Stearns so that she's knocked out into a stupor so that he can do his diabolical stuff. That's why she's always so sleepy. These are things that they should have reported to CPS. This should be reported to the Children and Family Organization that resides in Florida, whatever their counterpart is in Florida. That's what this stuff should have been reported to them. But, there's always system failures whenever there's a tragedy. Blank told me that he only keeps academic tabs on Maddy and said that they only had conversations about her grades. Blank said that they never had any conversations about Maddy's home life, and he did not meet her parents, even though Maddy's mother was a substitute for him in October of 2023. How are you going to substitute teacher in a school and never show up to the school to support your daughter and see how she's doing? So you'll come to the school and teach other people's children, but you're not going to play an important part in your own child's development. That doesn't make any sense. It just shows how nuts and how negligent Jen Soto is. Anyway, Blank has not seen any recent changes in Maddy's behavior. Blank noted that Maddy seemed to not have as many sleepy days as the beginning of the year. Remember, end of December is when Stephen moved out. So as time goes by, her behavior, her sleepiness, all that stuff is getting better. Let's keep going. Blank told me that he saw Blank Maddy fatigue, which he believed may have been a sign of depression, but he did not see anything more overt, nor did he see any signs of suicidal inclinations from from Maddy. Blank told me that Maddy's grades was rough, but then she brought them up. He said that she will go through places where she would not turn in anything, phases rather, I'm sorry, the cursor was on it, I couldn't read it. Phases where she would not turn in anything. Blank had not noted any shifts in behavior and recalled how he bid that class farewell on Friday, February 23rd, and she said that she would see him on Monday. Okay. Blank stated that a student came up to him and told him that she wanted to live in the woods when she turned 13. Blank told me that Maddy seemed normal but quiet and tired. Copy of this interview was placed into evidence. Okay. They're all 30. This is a 13-year-old. I'm about to say another 33-year-old teacher. Jesus Christ. They're all the same age, but this is a 13-year-old kid. So this is important. Now we're going to hear from a pair of Maddy. We're going to hear Maddy's friends and classmates and see what they have to say. It looks like we're almost done, so we'll get through it. So this is 13-year-old, February 29th, 2024, approximately 3:11 p.m., which is 13:11 hours. I conducted a digitally recorded sworn interview with Blank in a conference room. Before speaking on the incident, I qualified that Blank understood the difference between telling the truth and lying, which she did. The following is a synopsis of the statement. So what that is called is a forensic interview. Forensic interviews are done with juveniles. And before you can start an interview with a juvenile, you have to qualify that the juvenile understands the difference between right and wrong. So it's very cool that this detective is also FI trained. You have to go through an entire training on how to question juveniles. And apparently this detective is FI trained. And I think that's really, really cool. Really, really, really cool. So let's hear this forensic interview. That's what you call this entire interview. Everybody else was sport deposition, regular interview. This is now a forensic interview of a 13-year-old. Let's see what he says. All right. Blank told me that she met Maddy last year when they were in 6th grade, where they shared one class together. Blank stated that she and Maddy have 3 classes together currently, and they have become better friends. She told me that Blank and Maddy would know Blank the best, as they, she's talking about other students, I'm sorry, would know Maddy the best, as they were her best friends. Blank recalled how Maddy would come to school crying and complaining about her mother. Other times, Maddy would cry and she would say that she just wanted to cry. Trauma, ladies and gentlemen. How many times do I have to say this? Trauma. We are literally getting the definition of trauma right now. That is what we're getting when we're reading what this 13-year-old is saying about Maddy. Let's keep going. Blank did not note any changes in Maddy's behavior, and Blank did not talk with her about suicide or depression, or Maddy didn't talk with her about suicide or depression. Blank stated that Maddy would occasionally be mean to her, and when Blank asked her why she said that, it was because that is how she shows affection. Trauma. Remember, she's learning from home from a young age that affection is abuse. Affection is doing bad things to her. She's modeling. She's mean. And then that affection also coming from her mother is adversarial. Her mother is mean. Her mother's not supportive. Keep that in mind when we're talking about Madeline Soto, this creature, this beautiful girl who has been treated terribly her entire life by her mother and her mother's boyfriend. Let's keep going. Blank stated that Maddy's mother threatened to kick her out. Additionally, Blank did not like her father. Maddy did not like her father. I think she's talking about well, we don't know. We don't know if she's talking about biological father of Stephen Stearns. We don't know how Maddy spoke about Stearns, if she called him her father or not. Blank said that she did not hear Maddy speak about her mother's boyfriend. Okay, so maybe she was talking about her biological father. Blank continues to say that Maddy and her did not even talk about sex, but they talked about crushes, including Maddy's current interest, an unnamed boy. Blank was upset during this interview, was crying because she just kind of missed her. So sad. There were people who loved you, Maddy. This little girl is crying because she missed you, Maddy. Even though you guys didn't have the perfect relationship, you had a little immature friendship relationship, she freaking missed you and she's crying for you. I'm so sad. So sad. This is the interview of a 12-year-old. February 29, 2024, approximately 15:32 hours, which is 3:32 p.m., I conducted a digitally recorded sworn interview at a conference room. Before speaking on the incident, I qualified that blank understood the difference between telling the truth and lying, which she did. The following is a synopsis of that interview. This child is now a part of a forensic interview. Let's continue. Blank told me that she had recently become close friends with Maddy and that they shared 2 classes in common. She stated that blank and Maddy would know blank best and that they both, I screwed that up, blank and blank would know Maddy best and that they both told her things about Maddy, including her mention of wanting to run away when she was 13 years old and to build a house in the woods. Blank recalled how Maddy would seem pretty sad sometimes, though she noted that other times she seemed happy, particularly at school. Blank did not know any behavioral changes, nor did she discuss depression or suicide with her. A copy of her interview was placed in the evidence. Let's keep going. Another 13-year-old interview. This interview happened on February 29, 2024 at 3:32 p.m. And that interview is as followed. Blank told me that she had recently become close friends with Maddy and that they shared 2 classes in common. She stated that blank and blank would know Maddy best and that they told her things about Maddy, including her mention of wanting to run away when she was 13 years old and build a house in the woods. Blank recalled how Maddy would seem pretty sad sometimes. Did I read that one already? Am I reading that again? All right, so let's keep going. So it's 13-year-old. I think I read that one. So now let's go to the 13-year-old. This one's at 4:15 hours. This is 4:15 p.m. and 16:15 hours. This one is, I conducted a digitally recorded sworn interview outside of her residence located at blank. Before speaking on the incident, I qualified that this young lady knew the truth and a lie, the difference between the truth and a lie. Let's keep going. Blank stated she has known Maddy, who she recalls as blank, since 4th grade. So this is a longtime friend of Madeline. She described Maddy as her best friend and said that they shared everything together. Blank told me that Maddy and her mother would frequently fight. She described Maddy's mother as bipolar. Wow, this girl's got the goods. This little girl knows Maddy. Let's keep going. She described her mother as bipolar. Additionally, she described blank as bipolar in her behavior, and she was taking unknown medication for ADHD. Blank told me that Maddy stopped taking her medication. So I think she said she also described Maddy as bipolar. All right. She told me that Maddy stopped taking her medication on Valentine's Day, but an unknown reason. So I guess for an unknown reason. Blank described Maddy as nice, funny, and caring on her medication, but snappy when she's off medication. Blank told me that she did not notice Maddy going through a depressive phase, but that blank said that she was going through one earlier in the year. Additionally, Maddy did not show any interest in wanting to hurt herself or anyone else. Blank stated that Maddy was upset at her birthday party because blank recalled how Maddy had a crush. We skipped something. Because she advertised it well, but that not many people showed up, nor did many bring presents. So when the mother is saying in the interviews with the detectives that Maddy was happy the night that she came home from her grandmother's house or aunt's house, wherever the birthday party was at, she was happy and she had a great party and she got a lot of gifts and she loved her presents. Does it sound like she was telling us the truth? Because what this little girl is saying does not sound like it's the truth to me. Sounds like Maddy was pissed off with how her birthday went down. But let's keep going. Blank recalls how Maddy had a crush on blank in school, and as she asked him for his phone number, blank told me that Maddy would try and talk to him more over the phone, but he did not respond. Blank told me that Maddy had 2 previous boyfriends, blank, who was expelled for breaking another child's elbow. Ooh, wow. And blank, she described both relationships as over distance and a lot of texting. Blank told me that she was not allowed to have social media, but that Maddy had YouTube channel and was blank. Which she showed me. Additionally, blank showed me Maddy's Discord. So Maddy had her own Discord. I'd love to know if anybody was able to find that Discord. Emphasized that Maddy's mention of living in the woods was only if there was World War III were to happen. She said that she did not ever notice any bruising on Maddy, but noted how she occasionally came to school with red makeup on. red makeup on? Could it be that Stephen Stearns was dressing her up or putting makeup on her? I don't know. This is just me asking questions. We have no evidence of that. But if she was putting makeup on and she wanted to do it herself, wouldn't she tell her friend, like, yeah, I put my makeup on. How do you like it? I don't know. Let's keep reading. Which made it look like she was crying. Blank told me that she would got to blank every weekend. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's a typo. But she did not ever stay the night. She would go to Maddy's house every weekend. I got you. So she would go to Maddy's house every weekend, but she would not ever stay the night because of her parents' own rules. And these parents are smart, because think about what could have happened to that girl if she spent the night at Maddy's house, considering what Stephen Stearns was willing to do to Maddy. What would stop Stephen Stearns from trying to try something with this little girl? Blank told me that she met Stephen on one occasion, even though he and Jen's mother had been together her entire life. Blank said that he recently moved out of the residence for an unknown reason. And when she asked Maddy why he did, she ignored the question. Blank told me that Maddy and Stephen were very close and they would communicate. Let's see if there's more down here. There is, and then that will be the end of it. We'll finish it here. All right. They would communicate frequently. Whenever she asked Maddy about it, she said that they had just had a close relationship. Blank told me that she received 2 pictures of Stephen that Maddy had sent her. She described them as screenshots that Maddy appeared to have taken during a time when they were FaceTiming. However, Blank was not able to locate the photos. She told me that Blank typically got her menstrual cycle 2 days before she did, except for the last month when Blank got hers a week or 2 after she got hers. So she's saying that this little girl, Maddy, actually got a menstrual. She kind of puts to bed the allegation or the theory that maybe she got pregnant and that's the reason why Stephen killed her. I know a lot of people are like, no, that's not the reason. No, otherwise they would have charged him with murder. Look how long it took them to charge them with Maddy's murder. And, if she's just a week pregnant or something like that, I don't think many states would charge you with murder if a person's a week or 2 pregnant or something like that. Until we see the actual coroner's report, till we see that coroner's report, that autopsy report, everything is fair game. There's no such thing as a dumb theory until we get the truth, all right? But if she's getting her period, it's highly unlikely that she's pregnant. So let's keep going. She told me that they did not have a conversation as to why her menstrual cycle was late. That just happens naturally at times. Blank believed that Maddy was a virgin and she did not ever see or hear anything to the contrary. Blank stated that Maddy's mother was never freaking out and that she thought that it was weird that she said that she dropped Maddy off to school when initially Stephen said that he did. She even a little girl, this 12-year-old girl, is like calling foul on that statement. She's like, why would she say she dropped Maddy off when Stephen's the one who did it? That's weird. Blank was shocked when she saw the news about Stephen's arrest, though she said that the thought crossed her mind once Maddy had gone missing. Blank noted how she would always receive messages in the morning from Maddy, but she did not on Monday, February 26, 2023, which alarmed her. She said that even when Maddy would oversleep, she would still receive messages. Blank thought a copy of this interview was placed into evidence. Blank thought, I don't know. Whatever. I want to zoom in on this. See if I could get the words on the bottom. Let's go here. The bottom is redacted, and I want to see something. If you can make it out on the bottom. No, we can't. We can't make it out. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it says Madeline. I can make it out. It says Madeline on the bottom. It says Madeline. Okay. And the only reason why I wanted to see what was redacted is because I want to make sure that when I was saying Madeline's name, that was the correct time to use Madeline's name. And from looking at that poorly redacted word, it does say her name. Okay. So that being said, guys, I think we got a lot out of that. We really got some insight into who Madeline Soto was when she was away from the nightmarish house of Jen Soto. I just definitely see Jen Soto as a very a bad parent, a very negligent parent. The more that I hear about her, there's nothing that comes out that redeems her. There are no people coming out and speaking on the behalf of Jen Soto to say she was a good person. It doesn't matter how salacious an allegation may be. We've seen it time and time again. It doesn't stop people from coming forward and say, hold on here, pump the brakes. I know this person, and even though they may be involved in something terrible, I could tell you from my experience that they're a good person. There's nobody coming out here saying that about Stephen Stearns. There's nobody out here coming out saying that about Jen Soto. Jen Soto was a substitute teacher at a time. There's no students coming out here saying she was a good substitute. There's no parents saying, hey, we were happy to have her subbing in the classroom. She worked for Disney. There's nobody from Disney coming out saying, I used to work with her. Maybe if they're currently working, the company would not want them to comment on this case, but there's no former employees coming out saying, hey, let's pump the brakes. I just want to let you guys know that whatever she may have done, it's unfortunate, it's terrible, but my experience working with this lady is that she's an amazing person. We don't have anybody coming out here saying these things, guys. And that should tell you a lot about these two people, Stephen Stearns and Jen Soto. These are terrible people who both failed Maddy in their own ways. And I could say, from my perspective, as horrible as the things are that was done to Maddy by Stephen Stearns, all of it could have been prevented if Jen Soto just did her job, her God-given job, the job that she accepted when she decided to have a child. Because at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are, your political beliefs are, or whatever. There's always a choice on whether you want to have a child. She could have, even if she doesn't believe in any type of these social things that are tearing our country apart, like abortion and all that stuff, I'm not commenting on that stuff. I'm not giving you any personal beliefs on those things. She could have used a condom. And in America, almost nobody frowns upon you for using contraception. She could have used birth control. If she did not have space in her heart for a child, to give her child everything, she didn't have the mental ability to prioritize a child because she's suffering from whatever mental illness she's suffering from that makes her not want to be bothered with Madeline Soto. She could have chose not to have that child. Nobody forced her to have the child. She chose to have a child, and she had a job to do to protect that child, and she failed that child by delivering the lamb to the lion's den. And we know what happened to the lamb in the lion's den. That is Jen Soto's sin. That is her ultimate sin, and that is the sin that she must pay for. Guys, please like and subscribe, join the channel, share this with your friends and family. Make sure that you're commenting in that comment section to help the engagement. I see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.